Amari Cooper is now a member of the Buffalo Bills. Ladies and gentlemen, the man that made that trade, the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, Brandon Beane.
Yeah.
Beane, thank you so much for joining us. We've been in the middle of some absurd conversations. This gets us back on track. We're thankful for that.
Always glad to get you back on track. I don't know if I'm the right guy for that, but I'll do my best.
You have to be. We were talking about...
Wait, did you hear something then?
Yeah.
What'd you hear?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on, Beane. All right, let's dive in. Huge move yesterday. Amari Cooper becomes a Buffalo Bill. I think it's like a seventh and sixth, and then a third. You get it. There was some movement. And my immediate reaction to this deal was, wow, didn't know this was possible to get Amari Cooper for a third-round pick, seemingly. And then also, what a win for the Buffalo Bills in this offense. You guys are sitting at 4-2. You're leading the AFC East. Massive win on Monday. And then, bang, next day you make a trade. How long has this been a thought that you need to add a weapon? When did you know Amari was potentially available? And how easy of a decision is that for you to make for your team?
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely been monitoring. You know, people kept tabbing us to Devontae Adams once that situation kind of reared in Vegas a couple of weeks ago that he was looking for a new home, and they seemed open to it. At the same time, we were having conversations quietly with a couple other teams, just seeing where they were at. Every team's kind of in different spots, you know, and sometimes it's, hey, if we can win this week, we want to hang in there. We're only a game back or 2 games back. And so definitely had some conversations with Cleveland. And, you know, Andrew Berry's a great dude. We've done deals before. And so we talked last week, and then after that, we played with us playing on Monday night, then playing Sunday. We talked again on Sunday night after their game. He was still trying to decide. No team wants to give a player away, but you're also looking at the now and the future. And so talked to him Monday, again, Sunday night, again Monday. And then ultimately, I told him let's touch base after our game, Tuesday morning, and things got hot and heavy yesterday morning.
Okay, does the Devontae trade expedite anything, or did you not really know that had taken place by the time these starts really got hot and heavy, shall we say, on Tuesday morning?
Yeah, I mean, by the time we heard Devontae was done, we were at the finish line. We were down to those last arguing the 6 versus the 7 of this year or that year, but we felt good about it. I think they felt good about it. I had, talking to our ownership. Andrew had spoken to his. So we were almost there. And a couple hours later, we got it done.
Okay, so the Jets trade for Devontae Adams, and everybody's saying they're going all in. They're going all in this year. You guys trade for Amari Cooper. What is this message for this particular season with this team, Beane?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're still all in. If this didn't happen, if Cleveland was not ready to do it, we were going to continue to monitor. And listen, we still got a few weeks for the deadline. If we feel there's something else that we need or can help us get over the top, we have been all in all along. I know we lost some names this offseason, some guys who had been captains. This was kind of what I said was an offseason of transition. But the mindset here, as long as Josh Allen's our quarterback, is we're going to try and win this thing, and we're going to do what we can every single year.
Hell yeah. Go ahead, AJ.
I guess, how many people maybe are involved in the last week or so, and how many people know that you're talking to Amari Cooper and it's close to you, even like you talk to Josh Allen? Is he aware of it before it happens? And what do you think their connection will be like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty low key, AJ. I keep it pretty low. Josh will prod me here and there. I may throw a name too and just say, I'm looking. Don't get your hopes up.
What if he takes back trash?
What if he says crop? I don't want it. Yeah.
Then I tell him just go do his job and let me do mine.
There you go.
He's pretty good at his job, way better than I am at mine. But we got a good relationship like that. He loves to give input. He loves to hear, but he also knows he's not studying the film, and so he always has a good perspective on the deals we can do. And sometimes the deals we can't do.
Let's talk about what he brings to your team. Hembo sent over some stats. I think his average touchdown is like 27 and a half yards or something like that. I forget what it is for Amari Cooper, but it's through the roof. He's able to score from everywhere. He's an explosive player, big catch radius, not scared to go up in traffic to do that. Why is Amari Cooper the one that you brought to your team? And when did you realize maybe we do need to add another weapon? This team without Stephon Diggs this year, first time. When did you start peeking around thinking maybe you need a new weapon, and why Amari Cooper?
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with Amari there, Pat. It's just He's a guy I've always admired from afar. When I was in Carolina, he came out in 2015. Actually went out to Alabama with Ricky Prohl, our receiver coach, and Amari was not going to work out, but we were not picking as high as he got picked, but he was. You always want to do your due diligence. So we spent probably 2 hours watching film with him, took him out to dinner, and really got a feel for his love of ball, his understanding of football. Super football smart, passionate. It was just kind of really. We opened some of his practice film at Bama, and he broke it down for us. And I left there going, man, this guy would be a great addition. Obviously, the Raiders took him, I think, like number 3 or number 4 overall that year. So really just been watching his career from afar, and you never know when an opportunity is going to strike like this. And so just the timing of him going into his last year, Cleveland where they're at, and we had to work it in. Luckily, as you mentioned, we found a guy who they had already restructured his deal. We're tight on the cap, and so that made this a more doable deal for us than, say, a Davante Adams or some of the other guys that I may have been looking at. And as far as adding a weapon for us, I'm always looking. You're always trying to, how can you make it better? It's not just a collection of talent. It's got to fit within the team and the scheme of what you're doing. And so this is, I look at kind of your weapons as like a basketball team. Who's going to play the point guard? Who's going to be your forward? Who's going to be your center? Just another piece for Josh and Joe Brady to kind of throw into the mix. And, he's going to have to get up to speed on our offense. We'll get him in the game this week, but beyond that, it'll be how quick he can kind of get things up to speed here.
A package for him until he figures it all out. I think Buffalo Bills fans are going to be pumped to see him go on the field any moment over there. And if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, anytime I've heard you speak, I'd be excited. On our show, we've asked you before about these types of things and being active, and you're like, "Oh, I'll snoop around. Yeah, I'm not above making a call. I'm not." And then all of a sudden, boom, Amari Cooper, after a massive division win on a Monday Night Football, 4-2 leading division, we're adding in there. Bills Mafia, you got an aggressive team. That's a beautiful thing. Now, to make that move, a lot of decisions have to be made. AQ has a question for you, Beane.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer to offer a third-round pick for Amari or Davante Adams, and I don't understand why every team doesn't do that, but it's always fascinating to me why you give up the whole farm to move up 4 picks in the first round. What is the threshold when you're going to make a trade on, is it a third-round pick, is it a second-round pick, and what does the process go into that?
Yeah, great question, AQ. Everyone's kind of got its own dynamic. What's the cap ramifications? What's the cash? How many years do you have? And, what does next year's draft look like? What do you already have? With the Stephon Diggs move, we added an extra 2 coming into this draft. So we have a 1, 2, 2s. And so I kind of looked at it as we're still going to get 3 picks in the first 3 rounds. It's just going to be actually in the first 2. And, this last year, we were really beat up at corner during the season. And so we had to move. We did a pick swap of moving our 3rd with a 5th with Green Bay to get Rasul Douglas, who helped us down the stretch. And then this past draft, I figured out a way to get that 3rd back. We moved back a little bit, used the 3rd, and it turned out to be Dwayne Carter, who's played a lot of minutes for us this year at D tackle. So I'm also going, man, I'm a competitive dude, AQ. Like if there's somebody that we think we're going to like in the 3rd, I'll try and move back again in one of those 3 picks to still possibly pick a 3rd rounder next year.
Beane, we get so confused though. Like, my immediate response to that trade yesterday was that this feels like a heist, was actually what I said. But it feels like players all feel differently than the people that are doing the selections. Mm-hmm. Seems like GMs and personnel and everybody, like those draft picks are worth so much. And we as players in a locker room have seen so many players just be busts, just like not work out. And the numbers are very high for the amount of don't work out players that get drafted in, let alone the first round. That number's very high. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all of them. But people hold on to them dear. Like it is a massive, when you get a proven player, for us, it's like an easy decision. Like Randy Moss was a 4th round pick or something.
Yep. Yeah. So.
And that was like, I think what they opened, like, what? Randy Moss, a 4th round pick? Is that something whenever you're talking to other GMs about how much they value draft picks? And why is that? Because like the hope of what that person can become?
Yeah, every pick's got its own value, let's say, but I'm with you. We probably sometimes overvalue them because a known commodity is super important. And I think in this, I'm more willing to do it now. As you said, we're 4-2. We got a 2-game lead for a known commodity. versus in the spring when the draft's, upcoming, unless I just feel like it's going to be a weak draft or there's not going to be depth in the round that I'm potentially moving a pick. So I think it's a fair point to say, maybe we do overvalue him sometimes, but, there's also the analytics world that says every time you select a player, it's like a swing, an at bat, using a baseball term. And so I think people are saying, hey, how many, if I get 8 at bats, 9 at bats, 10 at bats, maybe I'm going to hit 3 or 4, because we're all issued 7 at bats every draft, right? And then, right now we're projected to have, if the comp formula falls its way, we're still, hoping to have 10 at bats this year.
So you're going to have 10 at bats and you have Amari Cooper. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That seems like bullshit, doesn't it? Doesn't it? That doesn't seem like a bunch of bullshit.
It does.
Aaron Judge, speaking of at bat, didn't he hit one last night?
Yeah, he did. He's back.
Aaron Judge is all the way
Yeah,
back.
slump is over.
Okay, congratulations to Yankees fans. I know that was a big deal. You talked about bringing in Rasul Douglas. Sorry, we just had to have a baseball conversation in the middle of that. You brought it up, though. That's on you.
I like baseball. We're good. I like baseball.
Have you been watching any of this playoff base? It's insane, right? There's more Grand Slams, I think, at this time than ever in the past. 5 is the most that's ever happened. There's already been 4, and we're not even to the World Series yet. It's electrifying, Beane. Electrifying.
Yeah. No, October baseball is awesome. It's I grew up a Braves fan, diehard Braves fan, and where I reside now, there's a ton of Mets fans. So I've been getting a lot of shit for the Mets outdoing them. We usually own the Mets, but this year we fell short. So I've been having to eat some crow here, Pat.
They're talking Subway World Series potentially, Mets and Yankees.
Come on.
I don't know. It feels like that would be something you would have to try to get to. The rest of the country will care?
Yeah.
Really?
I think I'll care more if it's Mets Yankees.
It's just so rare for that to happen. Obviously, Yankees Dodgers would be huge too, but
I mean, if it's not the Pirates bringing in the ratings, I guess it would be the Yankees.
That's true.
And you know that, Beane. You know that. You talked about Rasul Douglas in the secondary a little bit. D-Butch got a question for you.
Yeah, Beane, obviously you lost a ton of leadership in that room with Hyde, Poirier, Trey White moving on. So there's questions in that room, and obviously on the wide receiver room, you talked about that as well. How do you feel about the secondary now, coming off obviously a huge game? I think Rat played unbelievable, very physical in the back end, Monday Night Football. Teron Johnson, one of my favorite slot defenders, obviously had the game-winning interception. How do you feel about that group as a whole going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just nailed you just answered it for me there, Derek. You did a great job. Taron's been out. He broke his he had a forearm fracture the very first series of the season versus Arizona. So we missed him. I mean, Cam Lewis really did an admirable job, but Taron's a former All-Pro for us, and a guy that, as losing Micah and Jordan and Trey White, a guy who's been here since 2018, played a lot of snaps for us, and a big play he made the other night, because that game was definitely still in the balance with us only having a 3-point lead at that point. It was an unbelievable play that he made, and then we obviously sealed it on offense. And Taylor Rapp was out the week before, got a concussion in the Baltimore game. We missed him, brought the physicality. He was bringing the wood the other night, and just having those two guys out there, Rasul Douglas, he's been a great leader since we got him almost a year ago, and we still got some young guys. Christian Benford, DeMar's been playing a lot at safety for us, so we still got a blend of kind of some youth with some vets back there, and we're going to need those guys as we go forward.
That wouldn't have been a pick at the end there for Taron, though, if old buddy would have been on a red line.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got lucky. You kind of stole one there. Speaking of
Taron might have got to the red line. You never know.
Oh!
We saw the He did flip them hips.
I'm going to have to check his combine 40. We're going to have to see.
Yeah.
Taron can roll. He housed one 100 yards a few years ago in the playoffs.
He might have
Baltimore
got there.
game.
What if he does get there?
That'd be crazy.
We would. We'll never know, will we?
Nope.
There will always be an excuse they can lay out there. Speaking of an excuse, you could have made one whenever, let James Cook isn't allowed in the kitchen because of an injury. Then all of a sudden you get some backup running backs that go bananas. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, Brandon, how about on Monday night, Ray Davis kind of sliding in there and just going bananas in prime time for you guys? And when that happens, do you kind of walk around the office with a little bit more swagger because you're like, hey, how about that draft pick, bitch? Look at that. Look at Ray Davis. Who brought that guy in? Oh, yeah, me.
No, because I know somebody will point right in my back of my face some draft pick that I whipped on. So
Smart.
it's
Smart.
humble pie is always right around the corner. But No, selfishly, Ray is just an unbelievably humble kid, man. He comes to work every day, doesn't say anything. I loved his film at Kentucky, and when we drafted him, the play I was telling the media about was not a run play. It was actually a pass pro play. They were playing Vanderbilt, and he just leveled this backer coming on a blitz that was a free runner, and just the physicality he brings. He's great in pass pro. It was fun to see him, and I think our O-line really fed off that first drive, just kind of, running as successful as we did and started with that touchdown. And how about you just showed the highlight, that catch he made.
Yeah, why is he all the way down there? What's he doing all
How did he get there?
Well, the best was he was waving his arms the whole time, and Josh saw him. It was kind of cool.
Your team's fun to watch, man. You put together a tough team, a fun team. Obviously, Josh Allen is a massive piece of that. But on defensive side, having to figure it out as you go through these different iterations of the Buffalo Bills, it's going to be fun to watch your brain work and watch your entire personnel team and scouting department do their thing. Congrats on a massive trade yesterday. Congrats on leading the AFC East, and good luck the rest of the way, brother.
Appreciate you guys, man. Always fun to be on here.
Is there snowing yet up there in Buffalo, or what?
No, we just got a few flurries tomorrow, but other than that, we're great.
Oh, it's Buffalo football.
Course still open?
How are the Buffaloes?
Yeah, are the courses still open?
Yes, we still got about a month. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, last round that you have. How are you shooting this year?
Not as good. I was better a year ago. I would have lost. I didn't break 80. I know you call me a sandbagger, but
bullshit.
I did not break 80 in my 3 rounds at Oak Hill this year, so I would have lost this year.
Okay, so sounds like you're maybe lying, right? This would be the sandbagging portion
He's bullshit.
of the entire thing. Yeah,
I'm trying to set it up so you don't move the number on me next year.
Yeah, well, are you going to play anymore until the weather breaks, or is you can't football?
No, this job gets in the way a little bit.
Well, you're doing a great job at it. And thank God we don't have to lose any more money.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because this guy's sandbagging the shit out of us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, General Manager for the Buffalo Bills, Brandon Beane. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, Brandon.